Dear world, happy Mother's Day. Mother's Omega tells high energies rising. Dear world, it is totally recorded that and how there is a database breaching method here and there. It is internation in maintaining locations, areas, and states. Science is further. Database relationships further. Private and everything. Criminally foreign influenced. That maintains manifest styles of liars bonded by one style of it that they all don't understand. They all have motivations, natures, needs, interests as victims, maintained as victim, propagated, maintained self-cultivated to roles with the propagated identities of titles, jobs, and of individuals A through Z. That was entrenched in America, and that which was entrenched in every modern country, every modern nation, territory since before it was founded. This was already entrenched in such a way where any leadership, no matter how powerful, they could only, to many extents, they had to self-value and entertain how locations, areas, and states are criminally foreign influenced, because no one could discern how or why. So more and more they had to value loyalty with the people with locations, areas, and states. More and more as uses of identity. The same way that identity is valued by a computer. The identity of value/value progression. It is the same way. It is space/existence, where space and existence are two increasing identities of volume and with the slash, also called the solidus and other names. The Trinity is about not just this. This is inside the greater Trinity. So there is the phenomenon of our Trinity as 3 bonded semi-natures inside 5 bonded semi-natures. But scientific observation of it reveals that that is distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously the same identity of value progression. The same identity of value progression's identity of relationship to itself, the identity of the body forever, and the value of that only increasing. This is how the identity of the body of forever is increasing identity of volume. /S. I tell it best, boxing. It is making more and more individual, temporary / lasting identities to make more and more of its own identity of volume, with our relationship to its positive value progression system, or it demonstrating negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures to our identities, as our identities. A criminal insidiousness is an identity that is criminally foreign influenced. I am not a lawyer, I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal. It is evidence that and how they are criminally foreign influenced in delusions wrought. Hundreds of nations at once. All identities of the law. All vetting identities. All investigations, investigators, and identities of the law. And vetting identities including the opinions of regular citizens. So for example, wherever you see democracy used, it is used criminally. So they are maintenance to this, which is a method keeping everyone blaming other things, others themselves, and valuing that the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures blame the other things, others themselves. Acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal insidiousness natures, wrongdoers. So we have to address how the identities of law of the branches of government individually grouped in together are criminally foreign influence and delusions wrought. They have physical delusions. And physics is all exceptions in as exception nature, it is in demonstration of how it is a semi-nature relationship to will only stay complete nature relationship to itself, identity itself, as a system beyond our control. So we have all kinds of medical organized crime that is associated with courts and with campuses of each age and nature in cases already. Then they had to hide lipoaggressions. There were victims raised to those positions, not fathoming it, blaming the perfect world on how it is forsaken on other things, others themselves, even when correctly doing it wrongly. For example, white people attacked Native Americans, but it wasn't white people. They were all the slaves of the same sickly distinctly. Effectively to keep and to have kept how sickly non-distinctly from being discerned. Not one has learned. All right. For example, with the World Trade Center attack, dear Saudi Arabia, I'm speaking to the identity of volume we are, right through these fake sides nations. Because we have locations, areas, and states, for example, with Ayman al-Zawahiri, associated with psychology with this especially, only maintaining lipoaggressions, self-valued by the identities of the law, by the identities of medicine, by the identities of medical, locate all database relationships. They're keeping the locations, areas, and states of every modern country, including Saudi Arabia, criminally foreign influenced, incapable of affording all that the beginning of the Quran and all that the beginning of the Old Testament is really a demonstration of. Now these are people roles with Connecticut courts and with New York, the Ninth Circuit right next to the World Trade Center towers, involved with crime methods, forging names, switching sequences. The switching names is to make, they're stacking a whole bunch of names. Then they change what people have to say because everyone gets boggled down legitimately and to just mass here and there names. You know, all locations, areas, states, experts, opinions, natures, styles of liars to themselves and others, delusions raw. So we have a guy with a headdress on, wants to pretend he can know the whole Quran, but he's reading it out of sequence. He has to value reading out of sequence the Quran, speak about positive, pretend to be about positive. Because he can't take sequence true. This is about sequence true. Always not denying exceptions as that truth that is exceptions in exception nature, while it is truth at the same time. While it is the value of the order of the finite, and so the value of all finite. While it is the value of the order of what is active, and while it is the value of what is progressive, and while it is the value of that, the extent of identity that is in our control. These five. Greater than pillars. The pillars are grounded. So we're exception nature are in demonstration. The pillars are greater. It's like our physical body. Physics are greater than identity. But that's only in demonstration of as exception nature and demonstration of it, not really. Identity is what's important. So the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, he is involved with a crime method with CNN sources and with Fox News sources. Fox Connecticut News and the buildings next to them are criminally foreign influenced. There is a Mendez police family. There is a Domain police family involved with database organized crime method, identity thefts, frauds, and worse than war crimes. Now these are people involved with a whole bunch of judges, male and female. We have some sick male and female victim predators. Now they want to pretend passions and emotions to themselves and about other with physical delusions, but they can't follow mandated law to do so. So they switch names, forge names. They're like scatterbrains, pretending they're we don't have time. This is we have all these people in the court and we have to do that. Then they switch names. They're using the time to attach us to fake recorded audio and video, and they're just putting transcripts. They're lying about what is actually recorded over Facebook, over the wire crimes. The whole wire crime methods with the Wethersfield Police Department, Wethersfield Interbranch, on and off the state judicial branch offices. Are people involved with body dumping spots criminally with a whole bunch of judges and their family members, a whole bunch of police forms. So at once, we have no, in other words, we have to use this time where we all have to take a break anyway because they're broken. We have to break the branches of government further. And we have to see what can't and why and how. They can't follow mandated law. So there was a Saudi woman associated with, I don't know her name, with West Farms Mall. And a whole bunch of people associated with West Farms Mall in West Hartford, Connecticut, that are also demonstrated, recorded, confessed, involved with all around CCSU, the locations off campus, are involved with people on and off that campus, with predicate acts with a whole bunch of people tied to Church Street in Wethersfield, Connecticut. Right around in the corner on the Church Street of Church Street and Main Street in Old Wethersfield is recorded tied to one of the people with the name Gilmore, a Dr. Gilmore. I never saw in my life. He's recorded involved with a Christina Sioka before she was a doctor, involved with a whole bunch of other people like a Leahy family, whole family associated with the Institute of Living on the campus of Hartford Hospital, and with other Hartford triages, in New Britain, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, confirmed. Roles with predicate acts delivery system method. Forging names, switching sequences. Time used always too fast, too slow. If you use simple logic that is proper with integrity logic, they forge names, switch names, stack names. It becomes and stack. All those people are stacking more and more fake recorded audio and video. More and more roles with the narratives to all locations. Oh, what happened? Oh, but you know what I heard with that? And they invest people that can't reveal what they really know or what they think they know per correlation, because these are also people involved with interbranch drug cliques of medical drugs and of overt gangs drugs and overt criminal enterprises and killers associated with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, a Faenza family, associated with various mayors, associated with Washington, D.C., and the World Trade Center, with all that is manifest intercampuses. That was his breaching method maintained. But the way it is maintained is maintaining roles with that self-valued, self-cultivated, roles with that propagated, incapable of defending its quality of fact treatment natures, quality of identity treatments, and of us at the same time, not by accident. So it is black as an identity, as forced. That's negative value nature, but it's positive because it's easy to discern how people are lying when it comes to the value of their identity, which is way shortchanged. Way shortchanged. Now, when they come bring equality into it, the styles of logic are entertaining roles with that breaching method, where the locations, areas, and states and the sciences individually grouped it together, and the database relationships associated with the sciences are criminally foreign influenced and delusions wrought. Call it physical delusions. I'm not a doctor. I'm going to delineate their delusions from their criminal foreign influences for you, and their crime methods. Now we have people from Sandy Hook associated with their fire departments, associated with Wethersfield Fire Department, associated with Hartford Fire Departments. There's someone called me from Wethersfield town offices. Then they pretended they were from the police station, or they really called from the police station. That's what they said over the phone. There's an Inspector Mike with that. I don't know his last name. There are a whole bunch of Mikes. There's a Mike Kerr. There are two Jerry Kerrs. There's an Officer Jerry Miller, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them. And with a porch next to the house with a witness protection program tied to the killing of Billy Grasso, tied to the Faenza family which was dumped near them, and their roles with the Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors, involved with elderly homes. You think elderly homes? You think integrity of science spoke for them? Ever? No. So, we have to have countered. We have military forging names, switching names. There are a whole bunch of people tied to this Dillon family, like a Pat Vincent. I don't know him. And associated with private school kids that came that had predicate acts roles with databases in my school. I've been waiting for a long time, but they keep attaching roles with it off campuses to explain this. And I never expected it would stay so hard, because when I was in grammar school, it's so easy to discern, to explain how all locations, areas, and states are criminally foreign influenced. How all fake positive and fake negative treatment natures are. These are vetting identities, including medical ones, that are pretending to legitimately observe people. There are crime methods before they do that with their own kids, and after that, and with the interbranch kids. So we have a whole bunch of sick bastards in the background, needing to pretend passions and emotions about themselves and about to us with physical delusions, criminally foreign influenced. I've been asking you guys to follow mandated law since before the World Trade Center attack. So they are preventing mandated law. They are preventing religious rights. They are preventing freedom of speech. By attaching us to fake recorded words, fake recorded ties to themselves. People from our towns. We have some sick male and female prosecutors. Now they need to get out of there. They need to say they're sorry real fast, and through the media that they attach me to fake words, fake locations, fake sequence relationships, fake natures of ties to other people, fake ties to other people, like a Joshua Julian. I never had anything to do with a Joshua Julian in my life. There were a whole bunch of people tied to him and to a John Maiano, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated repeated confessions tied to his roles. He blamed the daughter of the Wethersfield police chief. Now, he's also friends with the husband of the daughter. She's reportedly named Jessica Cintron. I don't know if it's true, but she's reportedly associated with Altamoda, which is across the street from a gas station. I believe it's an Exxon on Route 3, where there's a Mazzucato bakery there, also owned by the extended family members in Rocky Hill of the Wethersfield police chief. And they're also involved with the Mazzucato bakery in Hartford. That is also with a whole bunch of people with the English department of Central Connecticut State University, and with the acting department, and with the sciences departments that are involved with predicate acts with people on Church Street in Old Wethersfield, with that house on the corner, with the Gilmores. I believe it was a Susan Gilmore, an English teacher I had. I don't know if that's her husband, but that house is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also by WVIT, News Channel 8, which is also involved with the New Haven FBI, with foreign and domestic nations, people associated with all victim nations that need to overcome all the negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. But the way they're doing it, all exceptions in exception nature are a demonstration of the same thing. They're just entrenching it further and further, incapable of being countered. What is really caused to negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Again, acts like predicate acts. Natures like criminal insidiousness natures, wrongdoers, wrongdoing itself. These are organized crime terms. These are worse than war crimes. Simple racketeering method. Simple predicate acts delivery system method, rather. This is what World War I is about. This is what the Civil War is about. This is what World War II is about. This is what Vietnam War is about. This is what the Iraq War is about. This is what the counters to the 9/11 are about. Then self-defended. As identities, here and there, hundreds of nations at once, individually grouped together. They can't defend themselves and afford the quality of fact, cheap nature to demonstrate what happened. Because they're already simultaneous with all kinds of cases. They have to make fake treatments, all of this. That we're in a valued nature system that is criminally foreign influence itself, the market's positions. We have to lock them down now. That's what we do. So we have to have mandated law followed since founding. Pounding drums. You entertain narratives tied to even Jim Crow laws. You can't explain the Constitution properly simultaneously. We have to pretend others. You have to pretend to be about what amendment? Oh, it's First Amendment or Second Amendment? Instead of the surface value itself, free speech. Instead of the first surface value itself, religion. If they valued the right to religion, millions of people that they drug with the Justice Department, that affects what they're going to say. Because they have a whole bunch of different kinds of drugs they could pick to use on them. I saw them use lithium, like real dangerous drugs. They knock people down. Oh, but we're trying to make them better. These are delusions wrought, sick criminals with child sex offenders, originally and still. Sexual, medical, drug crimes with kids, and overt gangs drugs. They're crimes with body dumping spots. A serial killer body dumping spot too, associated with Hartford courts, associated with the deposition of Robert Luskin, and with federal criminal co-defendants of his and their family members, also with Joe DeMauro, associated with this Kerr family in sexual circles, associated with Church Street. There are other houses on Church Street associated with Ray Colello, who's on my street, associated with a man who said his name is Officer Sullivan. It said Wethersfield Town Offices, it didn't say his police department. But I called the office, that number back, and he said it was the police department. There was a Inspector Mike who didn't give his whole name too, who did that years ago. I've been trying to get a response the whole time. If you call the police, if you call the fire departments, whatever, to have mandated law followed, they're coached to hide and plot and to stack more names, forging, switching roles, extended stacking more and more names and the switching names. They're complicating what people have to say. And criminally, they're pretending we don't speak clear when we can speak people that can speak clearer than them. These are also people sabotaging the grades of other people by sabotaging their time, by uses of confessions from strangers, by uses of where they're going to walk they have planned out. These are some sick investigators, investigations, and inventing identities. So there are houses next to on all sides of the Wethersfield High School, on all sides of the Southstein Middle School. They also have judges, whole bunch of judges from Middletown, whole bunch of judges from New Britain Superior Court, whole bunch of judges from other Hartford courts, Like I believe it was a Superior Court too, associated with the deposition of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, in his defendant capacities. And those other federal criminals tied to him leading up to the World Trade Center. And since. Now this is with a case/S that was ongoing at the time of my father's death. They also attached me to fake conversations about this. Also as World Trade Center predicate acts roles and sequence shift roles, other natures of wrongdoing. Also from those locations, further and further with the houses on my street, there are nurses associated with this Leahy family. Then they're going to get upset if I use their name. I don't want to use their name. They already have one of the families of a nice woman now, a nice young girl when I was young. Used to be a babysitter of mine sometimes. Associated criminally with people pretending fake conversations with me with a Sal Civiello. I only went to one Cub Scout meeting. It is recorded through time involved with more and more natures of organized crime, identity thefts, frauds. And now these are the people also with that having been employed to cover-ups of that as roles with the principal child defenders campus, with more sexual and medical and judicial and interbranch legal identities. We have mayors. There's an Amy Morambello or something like that. That is recorded involved with elections racketeering, criminally foreign influenced elections, lead up to who's going to be the candidate and stuff like that in the process, those locations, Wethersfield town offices, on and off Millwoods Park. There's like a church there. There's a church on and off Route 3, all along Route 3. There's a house on the corner. There are houses on the corner of Meadowgate and of Route 3. They have a bunch of Jerry Millers. And they have a Jerry Miller and a bunch of Jerry Kerrs and a Mike Kerr that are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They have a woman in their family also involved with the Hartford, I believe. And now these are people with badges that pretend that means they have the right to abuse little kids. They have the right to do predicate acts, forge names, switching names, roles with sick prosecutors, retired and standing. Like a Brian Silver. I don't know if he's a prosecutor. I never had a conversation in my life. He's recorded involved with a bunch of people in the Leahy family. One of Dr. Brendan Leahy, his son, probably a doctor too, also named Brendan Leahy, and their brothers. Whole bunch of like 3 or 4 brothers he has associated with the Yagman family of brothers, and a Pandolf family, and the house between them. That's they're between them. Those houses is Samuel Dick's house. Now, see, we have the pathology of homes since before cars. Tactically denatured native identity of the ground relationship, not just because it's native, because it was designed to cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. That this breaching method employed to have everyone blame other things other than themselves for the real causes of them, to self-value that for time reasons, all victims, all maintain victim predators. That's the answer. What caused Jim Crow laws? A predicate acts delivery system method that maintained victim predators. Also, delusions wrought, criminally foreign influence, sick natures. What caused slavery? Same thing, a predicate acts delivery system method. What caused war? Predicate acts delivery system. What's the evidence? Oh, what's your evidence? Look at the identity of the ground relationship since before cars involved with the known, actually recorded torture and slavery of our founding parents. Anyone spoke about I learned right at Trinity Central Connecticut State University. Anyone spoke about any other, they would hurt them. Same thing with if that's why we're going to switch the color, and we're not. There's no game. This is a science, and we're going to show you what happens we're going to switch the color because it's sick. You know, it'd be more fun that way, too. Because it only feels like games. Evolution science. It reveals evolution's fruits and gifts and means from nowhere. You see those punk, sick, fake masks? But the Cub Scouts made them. Oh, we're going to sew some masks. And then the P95s. They could do way better than that. For weight like that, people could have bought it on time. They warned them. They warned us on time. People could have called up and got what they needed. But they didn't. Of course not. So New York City, when they're having conversations, you see the people stacking in New York City, that pathology of infrastructure, that is only capable of causing negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. How long does it take to even walk down from the top of those things and then get to school? Each fool, build wall. So all we need someone to have free speech, be able to yell too, and be able to stay calm when we need to. But we have that reversed. They also attach me to fake yelling to make sure that's how they do it. If they know, now these are people through time. Since I was in grammar school, the same one with the principal child offender recently proven. Pretty recently. Before that, for a couple of years or so, they were forcing that sustained. With prosecutors, male and female, with judges, retired and standing associated with that campus, with their kids' roles with that. So I want a response for them and for their kids, with their narratives. There is an officer named O'Neill, who's also involved with a woman named O'Neill, who's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with WFSB with predicate acts on West Hartford campuses, and with the principal child offenders campus on Highcrest Street in my town. And the corners of that street are involved with the people criminally involved through time. There's an Aiello family involved with predicate acts on off the Trinity College, with a DeMoro family, with a Kerr family, with a Joshua Stryker. That at the same time, that's in Hartford, Connecticut. They had a Joshua Julian involved with the Facebook pages and with the Facebook page of the principal child offenders campus. His roles with identity thefts, frauds, threats, and people with stealing stuff out of my garage through time when they were little. I don't know him, but now he's as an adult. He was making, he's like a little kid too, like a little skinny kid. And with aggression that he can't back up. Now we also have officers come to my house pretending they're like acting, pretending they're scared, like sweating even, putting their gun out. They probably would have shot too. Very nice girl stepped in front of their gun. Boxing is fun. So I wouldn't punch an officer. I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. I never, we have to have these officers pick names because the Wethersfield police chief's daughter and her extended family member also have their kids involved with that child campus then and now further. Now these are whole crime methods associated with them. Whole bunch of names. Now this John Miano, his brother, is involved with sequence shifts, identity thefts, frauds, and worse than racketeering. He had a ski trip. They implied was involved with their identity thefts, frauds, fake ties to me, sequence shifts, whatever narratives. Who knows this Alex Miano and a John Miano? I don't know his other brother's name. I never met him. I don't know his parents' name. Who knows their names? Because there are houses next to them. He's right on the other side of the houses on Route 3. All along Route 3, which goes by the State Judicial Branch offices. There's also a little street that goes by the front of the Judicial Branch offices, with the Fianza family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with predicate acts on off that street roll with his people, with the judges and their family members criminally involved there, and with other people like the Oliveri family involved there criminally, as the ones criminally involved with Trinity College. Predicate acts with this Joshua Julian. I never had Joshua Stryker that was involved with the confessions at the same time. Intercities tied. Everyone speaking through other. Everyone forging and switching names roles and the switching sequence roles. And so it's hard to speak. And then they can pretend you can't speak clear. I speak clear here. You get them on they pay paper. They have been criminally preventing me paper since I was a kid, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated in the Britain Superior Courts involved with people with predicate acts, with the Southstein Middle School further involved, with the further child defenders on all sides of the child campuses of my town, on all sides of the high school, all sides of the child campuses, like the middle school, the high school, all sides of the principal's child defenders campus. There are doctors with male and female with the Institute of Living on the campus of Harvard Hospital. Harvard Hospital and the Institute of Living on Harvard Hospital was founded in 1822. Slavery was still in the North, sickly distinctly from how it was in the South. Our founders had to leave it entrenched North and South, sickly distinctly, because that's how the breaching method was entrenched so well. And Trinity College was formed a year later, 1823. Before that, it was George Washington College. George Washington had to come to Main Street in Old Wethersfield, which is right around the corner from that house in the corner of Church Street and other houses on Church Street in Old Wethersfield, recorded by the people involved now criminally. They demonstrated, recorded, confessed as tied to the confessions that I and others tried to report when we were young, but they wouldn't let it. Now these are officers that also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they involved with sexual abuses of a Heather Hansen. And now there's a Elena Davenport who also made confessions to me about being raped. Now she's also involved with predicate acts, knowingly or unknowingly, with a Detective Simuto who switched his name with other officers to pretend he was an arresting officer of me on Trinity College, which the real arresting officer was Officer Magnanos from East Hartford, and that was on New Brighton's campus. But then they did a promise to appear, and the Officer Magnanos came with the Wethersfield Police, and the other officer who walked me to my car with the Officer Magnanos, who also made me walk right next to him with my arm touching his gun. He also made confessions about his roles with an officer, with a Steve Manos. Steve Manos is one of the people that was on the Ninth Circuit Court right before the World Trade Center attack. That court was involved with post-dated documents had been shown to the panel of judges right before the World Trade Center attack. From post-dated from inside the court to appear as if they'd been handed in late. That was later proven. They had post-dated them the papers that had been time-stamped, brought to the court on time. So we went before the panel of judges, and then we came home. And we saw that the Trade Center towers were attacked and taken out. Disgusting things we saw. People jumping from the thing. Imagine that. Shock and awe. Then they made us take up making shock and awe and other people as the shock and awe. So everyone got locked further and further to and as quality of fact, human nature, styles, identities of titles, sequence treatments that can't defend themselves and us from what exploits them. Never liberate, never freedom, never patriotism. Oh, but we go to sacrifice our life, ourselves to fight. So do sick people in wars. We need people to follow mandated law and to keep it real, to have science. On mass scales, you know what kind of natures of organized crime juxtaposed? Especially with probate courts. We have some sick treatments of the elderly. We have students from Manhattan, especially one of them. There are Wethersfield police with the name Sullivan associated with. There's a female Sullivan they recorded and confessed. I never met her. She's involved with the males that say they're Sullivan, who called from the Wethersfield town offices. They said it was with the police department when I called back. That's also people with the Inspector Mike, and with fire people and stuff like that involved with the Millwoods Park, all along Griswold Street in the corners. One time my mother was driving down the street. She told me this. I was telling her about something in the corner. She said one time a tree limb fell down there. Almost hit her car. I don't know if that was accident or what, but right there they shot things at our car real hard when we were driving. Weird things happened at that corner. Joe Aiello also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated of former Mayor Gold is involved with his recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people tied to him. His confirmed it. Roles with predicate acts. Roles with wrongdoing. All kinds of natures of crimes of kids that are also tied to that Griswold Street. And that end of the Griswold Street where there's that location where you could go into the, that's one of the ways into the, I forgot, Millwoods Park. That's also where WTIC, WVIT or whatever, News Channel 8, WFSB, and Fox Connecticut News play softball together. That was recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with them cultivating their needs to hide life progressions tied to their predicate acts. To attach me and my family to fake locations, fake words, fake sequence relationships to themselves and others, fake ties to others, fake natures of ties to others. They have crime methods where they approach people asking questions after they're already involved with the predicate acts against those same people. So WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, and WTNH, they have predicate acts roles in various natures of cases. There is a Trantolo and Trantolo with the various natures of courts and judges and prosecutors criminally involved with private lawyers like them. Also involved with CNN criminally and intercity locations. This is all along roads, routes, and highways criminally. Exits. The town line drive is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. People involved with interbranch with these same people, with Town Line Drive, where the ends of the exits are, and on off those shopping centers, with the strangers that sought me out for all these confessions. Every once in a while they make more confessions. Joe DeMoro, Mike Kerr recorded, confessed, demonstrated that they knew that they were with the same girl at the same time. But then in front of her they would pretend jealousy. They put Joe DeMoro, Heather Hansen, and Ray Cololo, who were never in my class. They put him in my middle school class I was forced to go to. And Rick Sion Faglione is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the prosecutors, like a Brian Silver, people associated with him when he was a kid. And judges, retired and standing, criminally involved with them. A Smith family, a number of Smith families involved with this Ray Cololo and with predicate acts. I had to write a complaint about Judge Smith, who spoke fake things into databases, attached me to fake locations, fake ties to other people, sequence shifts, but tried to attach me to what they did and what they confessed. but they just pretend they're stupid and other. They asked me to throw a thing at a window. I went like that and then threw it on the ground like a feint. Someone else picked it up and blew the window out. I don't know them. Those are also people with overt criminal enterprises like Los Solitos. Even if they're undercover, that's what they said they were. They're dealing drugs with the kids and with the private school kids with the cocaine. Per Chris Walters went to a private school. Also about a Lombardo family. There are a number of Lombardo families, strangers, tied to a lady named Lombardo, who pretended I was yelling to her. Now there was someone that was in the triage yelling, and he's also tied to the Dillon family, one of the Dillon, a whole bunch of Dillons. There's a Pat Vincent, people associated with Marine families, with this Dillon family, criminally involved, with the houses on Church Street with the predicate acts on off the departments of Central Connecticut State University. Now right around the corner from that is where George Washington had to come to meet with the French general on Main Street. All the way from there through Newington, past the Samuel Dick's house in Wethersfield, and through Newington, into New Britain, on and off Central Connecticut State University and Paul Manafort Drive. Remember how Paul Manafort Drive was repeated in the news? Because these are people who are crimes with Russians recorded. The interbranch drug cliques and sexual circles. And roles with the media racketeering. Fake audio and video with them. They put fake transcripts so they can pretend others recorded when then it is actually recorded over phones, over Facebook. They put fake audio and video attaching people to just totally made up too. Attaching people and their family members to fake locations, fake sequence relationships. Fake ties to other people, fake natures of ties to other people. So New York City, no one's going to help you out but me. They have the time. It's recorded. They have all the online platforms, the Sense and Sensibility. They care about their money. They care about jobs. As victims, influenced to it by their roles with identities, what were they going to do? They never knew any better. They came through the same criminally, sickly, distinctly, no matter what. They're sick, no matter what campus you went to. If you were homeschooled, they have a homeschool family. And there are kids. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the nurses. I said something to one of them I wouldn't have said. But I tried to get them to put their name on the paper that way. I don't know her name. She said she works with Panera Bread, which is in Wethersfield. She made a bunch of confessions that demonstrated she was involved with evidences, crimes. I don't know if that was a girl who's undercover, because they have undercover people associated. They have investigators, investigations, vetting identities associated with mental health care people that are involved with all this organized crime, with the various natures of courts criminally involved. Now they have, who looks, all appearances to me, a legitimate guy. Judge Andrew Napolitano. But he's on there saying that court is all about passing papers back and forth. They criminally consciously forge names, switch names, prevent writing, and switch names. Then they pretend you don't speak clear. They attach me and others to fake recorded words and sequences. On and off the Britain Superior Court, on and off Wethersfield Police Department, a whole bunch of people tied to and as Mendez police are involved in predicate acts with them. And some kid that looked like Charles Manson or something with like long hair when I was a kid. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with through time, predicate acts with this New Britain Superior Court. As the ones involved with Hartford courts, like a Delafair family. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with... So there's a Phil Colo, too. Who knows this Phil Colo? These are school resource officers, too, retired and standing. They also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they have Stop and Shops involved some kind of way. Where they had time, where they have people stand next to you so they can pretend things into records. They have the sense and sensibilities of our vetting identity, our identities of law. They can't defend themselves and us at the same time. Their criminally foreign influence delusion's raw. It had something to do when they were in grammar school, attaching me to fake words, fake locations. They have a criminal insidious natures of positive recursion method, where they're stacking illusions and databases, lies, and things for other people to pretend to perceive, where they're using words like data and like evidence criminally to prevent correlation nature. It's simultaneously inherent active and progressive means and with sequence true. Bach sings to you who disbelieves. You pick one name in sequence, please, and that recedes. Fake branches fall, build wall. So, there's also a Dave. There are houses on off the state judicial branch, off the prison offices also, in other words, who is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also with military, with these rap mobs, and with their family that are involved with the north end of Hartford, with these natures of organized crime. So they have rules with shootings because they can't be legitimate. They had rules with exploited the north end of Hartford through time, which is right down the street from Fox Connecticut News now, which has these two Mendes police officers recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. I never had anything to do. I never had class with the Mendes police brothers. Confessions were told to me about that the Eric Mendez, disgusting things I want to say, and from like Officer Joe DeMoro, John DeMoro, he's got a brother that said that he's an officer on the phone. I never had a conversation with him in real life. I think his name is Paul. There's a number of Joe DeMoro. There's a Joe DeMoro from Rocky Hill also involved with them, with predicate acts on off CCSU, Central Connecticut State University. No, the southern side of that has Paul Manafort Drive. That's the guy's name that they're talking about, the Russians. These are the same people that are involved with predicate acts with Russians. There's a woman who confessed and recorded to me and others her roles with, I didn't have no response. I wasn't rude to her or anything like that. You're forced there for mental evaluation. They're fabricating things. They're using that to fabricate audio and video. They're using that for much worse. So there's a woman who repeated that and how she's from Russia, who's also involved with confessions tied to the corner at the other corner of Griswold Street, is like the second house in. Route 3 in Griswold Street. There's a Tom Peruta. And his brother's name, I've never met his brother. I don't know his brother's name. And his family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with former Mayor Gold and their roles with Russians. And a bunch of other nations with predicate acts with databases. Per them. Per the interbranch tied to them. Pretending other. I don't know him. I barely know him. Then these are also people with the fire department that are with sequence shifts, where they're preventing mandated law. Then they try to make fights afterwards. There were some investigators, an inspector, and vetting identities associated with the Wethersfield fire truck pulled up in front of my house, right in front of the house tied to the witness protection program, and the body of Billy Grasso tied to that. Not just to the Fienza family, also tied to the Kerr family. These are also Marine families. Reportedly, that's a dishonorably discharged Marine. Either way, he's involved. He should be if he wasn't, because they're involved with also the buildings next to Fox Connecticut News, and they're involved with the predicate acts with Fox Connecticut News and with WTNH and with WFSB. They're also recorded criminally pretending passions and emotions about their identities. Meanwhile, they're all speaking through others they know criminally. Oh, we couldn't fathom that. Meanwhile, they don't follow mandated law. They're not supposed to make opinions. They're supposed to pick one name in sequence and get onto paper and say sorry through the same wire crimes they attach me to fake conversations with. They have that stuff taken down, but it's still on there. How come they still have it on Facebook though? They're like insidious. They need to keep pretending things. In other words, so since before the World Trade Center attack, I have been prevented free speech offensively by people stealing my identity and the identities of others who ask me for help regarding courts, police and judges, and people that work with their courts and their family members that persuaded them to federal crimes with them. And then they confirmed this afterwards. I found out about this. I found about how they were tied to... That was since before the World Trade Center attack. I asked for help to report things. Everyone makes confessions. They have whole crime methods reliant upon the sick identities of integrity as identities of how to think. Their delusions raw. I told you how to think. Is what is true always. And as exceptions in exception nature true will guide. Boxings. So, all right. All rise. All rise too. I was saying all rise. Then they put that so. So in other words, New York City, if you want to have reliefs, injunctive reliefs, you're not going to get them from the interbranch till you get them done. Boxing is fun. One way alone. Call home. Come home. Campus Marcius calls you back. Return. See, in some ancient times, before modern religions, the Campus Marcius, its republic for which we stand, had already been revealed and had thrived, had revealed. The ancients knew how to cause evolution's fruits and gifts and means from nowhere by using that method of what's going to be true always. Now, with a sequence true always to the order of the finite, to what is active, what is progressive value. So you see the people stacking New York City buildings, you think that, what's the progressive value of that? Only capable of causing negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. So what about the people needing to pretend they have to cause through contrast a good nation? They can't do it through correlation nature. Here and there. Follow mandated law. Do me a favor, Saudi Arabia, get me the name of say one of her colleagues is associated with the owner of a building on Covington Street that is recorded speaking, switching things into records with investigators. If they want to deny it, it's fine, but I'll show you how it's proven. There are means to demonstrate it. Kyle Gill confessed, recorded, demonstrated his roles with drug crimes with the families there. All various natures of crimes with investigations, and vetting identities on programs on off Central Connecticut State University. That's the same one, intercities through time, tried with crimes with child campuses in my town, with confessions from strangers I don't know. They know my name. I don't even know all their names. I know some of their names. People tied to a Matt Provost. I never had a conversation in my life. I wasn't going to start in the Stop and Shop. Nothing personal, Matt Provost. So there's a former Mayor Gold. There's a Debbie Gold and a Lee Gold. Also associated with people with forensics labs, with the transition from ACA to RICO, criminally involved confessions tied to them. Whole bunch of doctors, physical delusions wrought, forging names, switching names, evidence of crime, predicate acts, roles, falsified police reports, roles, rules, crimes, roles, preventing anyone from seeing anything to respond to. So there's a serial killer also involved with the courts and prisons that put him away. His body dumping spot is with a whole bunch of people, with those same people that put him away and are in stewards of his prison. Also involved with predicate acts with that location. and with predicate acts on and off Central Connecticut State University, connected ones on and off Trinity College, connected uses of them. Also with the confessions and crimes and threats with the Joshua Julian. If you call up the phones of the schools, they put fake transcripts and lie about what's actually